All right, first things first, a couple items of business. List please. Okay, progress grades come out this week. Yes. Now, you guys are actually, you're kind of a weird position because our tests, all our tests over chapter 5 are not going to go on the books until after progress grades. So what that means, for better or worse, is that your homework at this point is everything, right? So all you have, this is really a pretty easy deal for you. All you have to do is be caught up on your homework, and you're going to be looking pretty good for progress grades, right? So everything that's currently been assigned on Moodle will go on progress grades. Okay? Yes.
Do you have the grades up?
Like, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Should
okay,
we be
they're
done with
classes.
everything?
They might. Okay. Well, yeah. During the day.
Pick your percent.
We'll go to the lab check
okay.
and make sure. They should be. Everything should be set.
Should we be done with like everything on there right now?
You should be. If you're not, you have a little time. I mean, you have until tomorrow at whenever after school to get it all done. And I think you can. Their assignments aren't long. Okay. The other thing I'm going to add. Here's the other thing that could also be for better or worse. I think it could be for better for you. Is I'm going to do a very, very short, like less than 5-minute memorization, no-note memorization quiz to start class tomorrow. I'm telling you about it. It's over these 6 items that you already know. You should already know these, honestly. If you're on track, if you've been doing the due diligence here, and I'm not saying everybody has, but this is kind of a benchmark check here. You should know this stuff. In my mind, you should know this stuff.
For a grade.
Yes, it is. Okay, so, and this actually will go in as a small test grade, which is pretty amazing for me. I usually would not let people have test credit for something this simple, but I'm going to let you do it. You'll start the semester off with a bang here. Everyone should have 100% on this. All you have to know are these 6 formulas. That's it. But you got to know these things. People waste too much time going back and having to look these things up. It's knowing these is helpful in this chapter. So write quadratic functions in each of the 3 forms. So just tell me what they are right now. Somebody volunteer. How do I write a quadratic function in standard form? Y equals
X plus AX
AX squared.
Plus B plus C.
Okay, listen, I don't want people making noise. If you have something to contribute, that's fine, but I don't want people just shouting stuff out. So that's not helpful. So that's together, that's fine. Let's do this as a group. AX squared plus BX plus C. Good. Okay, vertex form. What's that?
A minus X minus A
Squared. Good. Plus K. Good. Just that simple. Factored form or intercepts form.
times X minus T. X minus Q.
Good. Okay, in vertex form, what is the meaning of the H and the K? Coordinates of the vertex. Good. In factored form or intercepts form, what is the meaning of the P and the Q?
Your intercepts.
Yeah, they're the x-intercepts, aren't they? Or the zeros. Same thing. Okay, so let's skip down here a little bit. I'm going to do this in a little different order. Write a quadratic equation. So you have to write the equation out. You must have an equal sign this time. Write the equation out. With these other ones, the reason I say that, these other ones in Moodle, it's going to say y equals and you fill in the blank. Right? But this is one where I'm going to ask you to write out the whole equation. What is a quadratic equation in standard form? Exactly. AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0. That's it. Okay, that is the starting point for the quadratic formula. So if you're starting with a quadratic equation in standard form, what are the solutions? X equals, you fill in the blanks.
Plus or minus square root.
Minus
4AC.
4AC. And everyone officially has permission to sing that song. It's fine, because if it helps you remember it, it's fine. Divided by 2A. Okay. Okay, on the test you got to sing it in your head, but you're welcome to it. Okay, so then the last question, and really this is the most logical order to do these in, then what's the discriminant? It's right in the quadratic formula. What is the discriminant?
B squared minus 4AC squared.
Okay, but without the square root part, it's what's inside the square root, right? B squared minus 4AC. And that's important to us because we know that if that is negative, we're getting i's. And we don't have any real solutions. They're all imaginary, right? If that's positive, we're getting 2 real solutions. And if it's 0, we get 1 real solution, right? Okay, that's it. That's pretty easy. Now I'm going to put I'm going to put the same 6 questions that are on the test. I'm going to give you a homework assignment. I'm going to force you to study. So you got to go through it at least once. But I mean, how long does it take to fill that out? Like literally, like probably 2 to 3 minutes, and you'll be done. You can take it as many times as you want to, though. If you want to have something to study from, there it is. You could do all the questions on the test. You already know they're on the test. This is just memorization stuff. So I'll put that up first thing. It's not up right now, but the questions are all written. I just have to make a quiz. It takes me about 2 minutes. Okay, so that's the memorization part. Now what I want to take a quick look at is I want to just quickly talk ourselves through a couple of these. Seems like this is the stuff people are having the most trouble with. I think people, for the most part, are getting the quadratic formula stuff pretty well. They're being able to solve quadratic equations. People are getting pretty good at that, which I'm very happy about. That's important. Keep in mind, when you're solving quadratic equations, you always want to take the easiest route. Only use the quadratic formula if you can't isolate x. If there's a single x you can point to, it's always easier to just isolate it. But if you can't do that, you might need to use the quadratic formula. Put the equation in standard form and solve with the quadratic formula. Okay, but this is the stuff it seems like people have the most trouble with. How about this one right here? It says, write the quadratic function in general form. Now, even though it says write it in general form, we're not going to start in general form on this one, are we? What form are we going to start in here? This fits vertex form, doesn't it? Because look at the 2 points. The 2 points that are highlighted on this curve, one of those is the vertex, right? And it even tells you that. The vertex and a second point are shown on the graph. Okay? So what are the coordinates of the vertex? Yeah, it's over 3 and up 1. And so what's the value of h? No, just 3. What's the value of k? 1. So h is 3, k is 1. There's 2 of the 3 things I need I can plug in right away, right? So I end up with I start with y equals a times, you already told me, x minus h squared plus k. I can plug in those 2 values immediately. 2 out of the 3 are done. So y equals a times x, what?
Plus 3.
Not plus 3, minus 3. It's minus h, and h is positive 3. So x minus 3 quantity squared plus 1. Okay? What do I do to solve for a?
Plug the next one.
Yeah, plug in the other point, right? So the other point is right there. The coordinates of the other point are what? Over 7, down 7. So positive 7, negative 7. Plug in positive 7 for x, negative 7 for y, and solve for a, right? So what do we get then? Negative 7 equals a times 7 minus 3 squared plus 1. So we just follow order of operations to solve for a. What we simplify?
The parentheses.
Okay, inside the parentheses, 7 minus 3 is 4. Squared is 16. Now that 16 is being multiplied by a, isn't it? So sometimes people are wanting to do this. They're wanting to add those 2 numbers together, which you can't do, right? That's not the way we do order of operations, right? We have to, if we're trying to isolate the a now, we have to subtract that 1 before we divide by the 16. Make sense? Okay, so we'll subtract 1 from both sides. And that gives us negative 8 equals 16 times a. So what's a? No.
Negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2. Good, we'll divide each side by positive 16, so those cancel. Negative 8 over positive 16 reduces to negative 1/2. So there's A. Now I got the third number. All I have to do is plug that in and we're done. Right? So I'm just gonna put that in right there, right? I've already, at this point here, I already plugged in the values of H and K. Now I just have to plug in that value for A. And if the question asked for vertex form, we'd be done, but this one doesn't. It wants it in general form. So what do? We've got y equals -1/2 times x minus 3 squared plus 1. How do I put that into general form? I can't distribute the 1/2 yet. I have to follow order of operations or simplify. Say it again.
Is general form standard?
General form and standard form are the same thing. Yep. Interchangeable. So what do? If I follow order of operations, I'm just simplifying. That's all it is, right? Remember that when you put something into general form, you're just expanding and simplifying, right? So you're following regular order of operations. What would I do first? Exponents. There's nothing in parentheses, but I have to take care of the exponent first. Good. So this is the stuff in the orange box that has to get done first, right? So I've got x minus 3 times x minus 3. X minus 3 squared is just x minus 3 times itself, right? So I have to FOIL that out. What do I get if I FOIL that out?
X squared plus 9.
No, I got it. Remember, I have to do all parts of the FOIL. So first times first is x squared. Outside, okay. Inside, good. Last, there's my plus 9. So that all works out to be, if I combine like terms, x squared minus 6x plus 9. So that's the stuff that goes in the box, right? Yes.
Could you use a Punnett square like at that?
Couldn't you use what?
Punnett square?
The one where, yeah, you can. Is that the way you learned it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's fine. You mean to FOIL?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I'm not a huge fan of that though, because the reason I'm not a huge fan of that is because foiling is just distributing. And we're about to go into another chapter where we're gonna expand bigger polynomials, and then the square won't work. But distributing still will. So yeah, I mean, if it works for you, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we have to substitute in for this stuff. Now what? Okay, so we get y equals -1/2 times that whole thing, right? The -1/2 is being multiplied by that whole thing, so it needs to go in parentheses. Does everybody see that? All we did was FOIL out the x minus 3 squared, simplify, and then put it back in its place. Now what? Yeah, now we multiply. We follow order of operations. Multiplying in this case means I'm going to multiply -1/2 times this whole factor, so I have to distribute, right? And if I do that, how many x squareds am I going to get? -1/2. How many x's? -1/2 times -6x would be, yeah, positive 3x. And -1/2 times positive 9/1, I just multiply straight across. What do I get? Yeah, -9/2, if I just multiply straight across, right? -9 over positive 2. And then I've got my plus 1. Last step? Yeah, just add like terms. Right? -9/2 plus, well, how would I get a common denominator here? How many halves is 1? 2. Just replace that with the 2 halves. So -9/2 plus positive 2 halves is -7 halves, right? So our final answer then just looks like y equals -1/2 x squared plus 3x minus 7 halves. That's it. Okay. So, I mean, it looks like there's a lot to that, but it goes pretty quickly. That's what you do. If we had one, we don't even probably have to go through this whole thing, but if we had one like this, how would we start on this one at least? What are we going to do here? We're supposed to write this in general form. Well, not here. See, we're not solving anything. We're just trying to write the function out in ax squared plus bx plus c form. Now, if this is on the graphing calculator part of the test, you can just put that into your calculator or do regression, or you can set up the 3 equations in the linear system. Yes, ma'am?
Not to pull up for student versus product that and
Something like that. Does this fit any of the special forms? I guess that's my question, because if it fits either factored form, aka intercepts form, or vertex form, it makes life a lot easier. It is factored form, or intercepts form, isn't it? What do we know about these points right here? Those are x-intercepts. How do you know? Y is 0. Where is y 0? Y equals 0 on the x-axis, right? So those are the x-intercepts. So we know then that P is -7 and Q is -1, right? So we got 2 of the 3 things. That's pretty easy, right? So then we get what? Y equals A times X minus P. X minus -7 is X plus 7. Times X minus Q, X minus negative, so plus 1. To find A, what do we do? Plug in the other point, right? We'll plug in this guy. So what goes in for X? 2. So 2 goes in there and there. And what goes in for Y? -54. Right, so we end up with -54 equals A times 2 plus 7 times 2 plus 1. Right? What is 2 plus 7? 9. What is 2 plus 1? 3. So A times 9 times 3 is how many A's? 27A. Good. So we end up with -54 equals 27 times A. How do I solve for A? Good. So those cancel. So what's A? Yeah, -2, isn't it? Good. -2. So we got A. All we have to do is plug that A in right there, and we're done, except expanding it out. Right, so we get then our answer, whoops, y equals -2 times x plus 7 times x plus 1. If the question wants it in factored form, that's it, we're done, right? It wants it in general form, so how do we expand this? Foil it out and then add like terms, then distribute the -2 and add like terms. That's it, right? That's all we have to do. That's all it means to put something in standard form or general form, is multiply it all out and add up the like terms. That's it. So if we FOIL this out, what do we get? X squared plus 1x. Inside product is plus 7x, and then the last product, last terms? 7. Okay, distribute the -2. Actually, I can add those up, can't I? It's an 8x, so I get -2 times x squared plus 8x plus 7. Distribute the -2, and we're done. -2x squared, what, minus 16x minus 14? Done. Okay. Good?
Wait, are you not distributing the -2 to the?
Yeah, we do. We distribute the whole -2. So that makes that a -2x squared. -2 times +8 is -16. Right?
I just FOIL differently.
Make sense? Did somebody, I mean, you could have distributed the 2 to one of those factors first if you wanted to. It's fine. Because now it's just a product of 3 things. I like to do it this way, but yeah, you probably did it the other way.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Okay? I think we're good.